I go to Erev Shabbos. This week's Parshas is Parshas Eikev. And Parshas Eikev, Moshe Rabbeinu, the final moments of his life, he's giving his last speech to Klal Yisrael, and he's recounting things that happened during Klal Yisrael. So 40 years they wandered in the desert, and the pasuk tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu says that they should remember that they went in the desert, that they traveled in the desert for 40 years. And the pasuk says, "Leman anoischa," the reason why that they were put through this was l'nasoischa, to test them, to see if they would keep the mitzvahs or not. So all the Rishonim and all the Mefarshim talk about what this test is, what it means that they were tested during 40 years, and everyone talks about it. But I wanted to just talk about one interesting thing that I saw from the Chidah. The Chidah brings a Yalkut Shemaini that says that from this pasuk we learn Mikan shemadlikin neiros b'Shabbos. From here we see that you light candles on Shabbos. So you might say, what's the connection? Ma'akesher. What's the connection here? What does it have to do with them wandering in the desert to lighting Shabbos candles? So the Chidah explains that the test of the mun was a test of appreciation. Could they still appreciate the mun, or would they start taking it for granted? Meaning, Klal Yisrael, when they were getting the mun, they got it every single day. It came down from Hashem. It started out as miraculous to them, I'm sure, but eventually, maybe you start taking it for granted. That was the test. Can they still appreciate all the chesed that Hashem did, the way that Hashem sustained them in the desert by sending down the mun to them? Would they still be able to appreciate these things even after 40 years? That was the test. It's a matter of appreciation. Shabbos candles bring light into someone's home, and they open up our eyes to things that maybe we don't see. And I believe that today it's more applicable than ever before. The Chidah's words are lasted, and they resonate today more probably than any other time in history. And that's because Shabbos gives us a time to reflect. The light of Shabbos comes in and it illuminates our eyes to things that are around us. We could stop, we could see, we have a meal with our family, we sit down, we have food, we can appreciate the sustenance that Hashem has given to us. It's a time to look back, and it's a time to look at the Rebbeinu Shalom and say, thank you Hashem, thank you to the Rebbeinu Shalom for everything that you've given me. Thank you for my family. Thank you for giving me the means to be able to put food on my table. I would also add that we know that Ner Shabbos is also tied to Shalom Bayis. The candles of Shabbos are tied to Shalom Bayis, and perhaps it's also telling us that our Shalom Bayis, that the candles open up our eyes to our spouses. We look at our spouses. Do we appreciate our spouse? Do we still appreciate all the things that our spouse does for us? Perhaps Shabbos could be a time for us to look at that as well. So that to open up our eyes, to appreciate everything that we have, even though there are things that we could easily take for granted. I believe that's the connection. I believe that's what the Chidah is saying, the connection between the mun and Shabbos is. Have a wonderful Shabbos.